Hey, Teacups, welcome to another live episode of Tea with Teash podcast. I am teamed today with the fabulous Stewart, and baby, we're getting ready to get into it. I want you guys to understand how massive this is. She is a TV and film producer for all the networks that you watch on TV on a day-to-day basis. Clock that. Hulu, Netflix, Oxygen, A&E. We got ESPN. Baby, the list goes on. Stop playing with her. How are you today?
Good, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm like, who's she talking about?
Okay, listen. So, again, fabulous work. You have accolades on accolades. Oh my God, you are just doing it moving. Seriously. I know that September 1st, you dropped your Sister Girl podcast. And just give us a little bit about that premiere because I have not had the chance to check it out, but you know I will.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so your Sister Girl podcast is with the absolute phenomenal Miss Tori Starr. She is a radio personality here in Atlanta on V103, and she goes by your sister girl, Tori.
Okay.
And she and I have worked together, previously. I mean, over the last few years, from television appearances to her deciding she really wanted to put out this podcast. And she's such a wonderful person that really cares about women and how we grow and how we move. And she decided, like, hey, people call her and were like, calling into her radio show, or they stop her on the street and just go into these long conversations about everything from mental health to self-care. Like, she really is your sister girl. Like, she's one of those people, if you meet her once, you felt like you've known her your whole life. And so
Hmm.
she decided to create this podcast that it's not going to be just for women, but it is really going to encompass all of the things that we go through, especially as women of color in this country,
Hmm.
and just how we navigate it, and creating important dialogue around what our issues are. But it's going to be a little something for everybody. Our first issue, our first edition, our first episode, we have two therapists that are actually, or two doctors that are actually talking about what self-care looks like for both men and women. We have an amazing Dr. Leeper who is literally talking about being a Black man and the importance of choosing therapy,
Absolutely.
and like living in a society that oftentimes doesn't allow men to say, yo, I hurt, I cry, I have feelings, I need help. But without feeling emasculated, of course. And like, he's speaking about it openly and talking about the access or limited access that men often have to mental health services. And it was just a really good conversation. It's going to be a really good show. We have, like I said, Dr. Leeper. We also have Dr. Celicia Thompson, and she's talking about it from the female perspective. And she is like a global thought leader. Girlfriend
Okay.
South Africa, making moves and talking to women and going to universities and explaining, like, hey, gender-based violence is something that not only impacts the women that are victimized by it, but also all of us, because now we have fear. And then
Okay.
how do we process that, and how do we turn that fear into advocacy?
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to make sure that I tap in because I live for a good old podcast. I live for a good conversation, a good interview. And I love that you highlighted how men need a safe space to be vulnerable because a lot of times they are made to hold up the household. And it's like, how can he hold it up if he's hurting, if he needs to be healed, and he needs to be heard?
Yeah.
So I definitely love it. Definitely going to check it out, honey. And listen, so I've been speaking highly of this interview because, like I said, women in media, we have to band together.
You do.
And I love what you're doing, and you are really just giving it all you got for the team, us, meaning me. And so, I definitely want to highlight you are the winner of the best director of an outstanding reality series. Why Not Us Southern Dance on ESPN. Let me just highlight that because for us brown girls to really break through and be seen and heard, and people know what time it is, that's amazing. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was a big deal for me because, so let me be clear.
Hmm.
The Women Image Awards acknowledged that show, and it wasn't even just that show. It was a particular episode on that show. It was episode 4, which was so close to my heart. Like we had put so much into that particular episode because we were addressing the racial issues that this particular young dancer had experienced,
Hmm.
Black girls in the world of competitive dance, especially, as a ballerina and all these different things. And it's like, she was literally pouring her heart out about what it felt like to both be proud and proud of herself while also feeling this angst around, can she go far enough, and
Hmm.
and the images of black dancers and being discredited. It was so much in that particular episode that everybody on the team really poured a lot into making sure that not only told her story, but that we told it, um s- with some sensitivity
Yeah,
and authenticity. And so to be for the that episode to be recognized, and got, to receive an image, a woman's image award for what we did there was pretty, it felt good. It felt
it
really good.
sounds like it, honey. I bet it was so rewarding for you to be a part of.
It really was. I mean, that entire show was highlighting these young Black girls and giving them a voice. Their voices are often underrepresented.
Hmm.
Um, and so it was great to share their lives, to be a part of their lives for that short amount of time, and to, have the ability to tell their story on a platform as large as ESPN.
Yes.
And for them to feel seen and to know that they matter. And for that particular episode, which was so emotionally charged, because again, we were talking about some really heavy stuff. I mean, she's a girl from Chicago, from the inner city of Chicago, that like beat
Girl.
all the odds. You know what I mean? Everything everybody said she couldn't do, that baby went off to do. And she, fought her way through it. And so it was a very emotionally charged episode. And to stand on that stage and receive an award and acknowledge what we had done was, it was an emotional moment for me.
I bet it was. It sounds like it was amazing. And just to give all of us a voice, especially, coming from where she's come from. And like you said, a lot of people don't feel like you can do what you said you're going to do. And you need that support. And then once it comes full circle, I bet it was very explosive,
Yes,
honestly.
thank you.
Well, honey, let's get on into Miss Saya now. How long ago has the world of TV began for you? Because you are definitely a vibe out here.
Thank you, girl.
You
I
are.
appreciate it. So my story is really interesting because, well, I don't know if it's interesting, but it's different. Like journey into television is not the traditional story. And
Okay.
I love to tell it because I hope to inspire someone else. I was in corporate America. Like I went to school to originally for media management and, television production. My bachelor's is actually in media management, but I got really scared,
Mm.
early in my 20s when I was in undergrad, which is a million years ago now. Um, and I did not feel I could make it. Like I knew I had gone to school for it. I knew it was something that I loved, but I just did not feel like I could support myself. I didn't believe in myself at that time. And I had a son, I was a young mom, I had my son at 21, so I was a young mom. Um, and I just was like, yo, I got to be responsible, right? So
Yeah.
I graduated. I went and got an MBA, and I went to graduate school and got a MBA in finance because I was like, I am going to be responsible. I'm going to get a good job. I'm going
Yeah.
to this TV, dream and just take care of my child. And I did, I was in accounting. I went into accounting. I did that for several years. I did project management. I did that accounting for like 12, 13 years. And I went into project management. Um, and I did that until my son graduated from high school. Um,
Amazing.
he really inspired, and while I was doing that, I would still moonlight because I still had this craving for the production world and for entertainment, and so I would do anything anybody would let me do. If it was on the weekend, it didn't, or an evening, it didn't,
Right.
and hey, I can say it now, I can't get fired no more. Like there were
Okay.
days I would call in sick because I got
Okay.
use a couple of sick days. I would do whatever I had to. So, like, I did stuff at the radio. I would work as a PA on somebody's production that happened to be in town. And that, that's one of the great things about living in Atlanta. There's so much production. But I would just moonlight to still, fulfill that creative itch in me. I would write on other people's projects. I would just do whatever I could to
Yes.
stay connected, while also having this, corporate career. Um, and so when my son graduated high school, it was really him who told me, he was like, Mom, I really would love to see you happy.
Oh.
B, like, I wish you would do something that makes you happy. And so I, went on stress leave, and I was not faking it. I was really stressed at that particular job. And that was
Oh.
about 7 years ago, 7, almost 8 years ago. And I went on stress leave. And while I was on stress leave, I had a girlfriend who I had met on a production we had worked on together. And she said, Hey, I'm working as a field producer, for this true crime show. It was For My Man on TV1 at the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
He was like, "If you come work with me for 3 months for free, I will help you get a job, get the job." And at the time, like I said, I was on stress leave, so I still had some income coming in,
Yeah.
and, um, I took the opportunity. And so I always tell people, take the opportunity. Sometimes I know everybody wanna get paid, but sometimes the education you get is invaluable. So I did. I worked as an intern for her, and now granted, I'm in my late 30s at this point. Um,
Mhm.
I did. And after 3 months of that internship, where she just literally trained me how to do the job, an opportunity opened up at the production company to, work on For My Man as a full-time field producer. And they gave me the job. And I literally never looked back.
Girl, I wouldn't have either.
I have been working in film and television ever since. And I always say, I've been asked the question a million times, like, hey, how did you do it? What's the secret? I said, baby, God, that's it.
Okay.
I don't have, I was like, I mean, I can give you a blueprint on how to do what I did,
Yeah.
but I promise you the key element, the secret sauce I was like, this was just God's grace and God's appointment. That's the only thing. Um,
Okay.
so yes, so
Listen,
that.
I'm so glad you were open about that because I'm gonna tell you something real quick. So when I was really small, my mom always made sure that I kept a microphone. I was a really talkative kid. I always had something to say. So I would watch Oprah Winfrey, Sally Jesse Raphael, Donahue, Geraldo, everybody. As soon as they would go off, I would go in my room. I would set up, put all my babies on the bed and everything, and I would host my own talk shows. And then I
Mhm.
would do interviews and stuff like that. So as I got older, I was like, you know what? I want to major in journalism. I want to pledge Delta. I want to do it all. I want to go around the world getting the story. And then I got pregnant right after high school graduation. And I was like, who can ready to be a mom to a son? So my son, my oldest will be 24 this year. And I said, you know what? Oh my God, I cannot keep sitting on this. I have got to start my podcast. I've got to get to rolling. So I'm glad
Mhm.
that you said all of that because that spoke to me. I wish I knew people back then to say, you know what, where you going? You didn't have this baby. Let's keep it moving. But of
Keep it moving.
course, you have to work. You have to take care of your kids. You have to, you know what I'm saying? So if I would have had those opportunities to say, hey, come do this for me with no pay, baby, I'd have jumped on it like a smoking train. I am not lying.
You know what? It's interesting because I've gone into this space where I love teaching, right? And
Yeah.
so I love speaking, I love teaching, and I always get this, in my mind, like the best thing that I have the thing that I have to offer is, how to break into the business or explaining production. But what I have found is the thing that I used to hide, the part of my story that I used to hide the most seems to be the thing that has inspired people the most, which has been really shocking to me because I used to hide my age a lot because
Really?
the entertainment world is a young man's game. Like keep
Yeah.
that. So a lot of the people I did not go into this until my late 30s, almost 40. And
Hmm.
so and I used to hide that fact. I used to hide how old I was. Um, and what I found is I kept meeting so many women that wanted to change their careers. They wanted to, step out in faith, and
Mm-hmm.
later in life, or even in their like hitting that mid 30 range, and they just did not believe they could do it. And
Mm.
like I and when I hear that, then I'll be like, girl, I did, you can do it. I did it. And look where I'm at and look how it worked.
Yeah.
And I feel like that thing that I was ashamed of has now become my story that I share that seems to impact people more. And so I've learned to not the women that I've talked to and who I've helped to get over their fear and to get over their insecurities and to just move forward have helped in turn help me to feel confident to share my story and not feel like I have to hide it and know that my story is a part of what the gift that I have to give that God wants me to give. And so I openly share it now that I
Hmm.
started in my late 30s, almost 40. I've left a corporate career and I made it happen. And you can too. Anybody can.
Well, I'm glad that you said that. I wasn't hiding my age per se, but I was so nervous because I didn't have a blueprint. I started my podcast with all these notes and different things I wanted to do under my brand with my LLC and all of that. I was 41 when I started. I just turned 43 and I'm going into my second year of my podcast. And I'm like, you know what? We on go no matter what. So I've been really pushing the envelope and pushing the line for people after me that want to do it but don't know how and they're afraid. You have to do it with your eyes closed sometimes, and that's what I did.
And that's what you and kudos to you because that's the thing. I really think let's just go ahead and get into it, baby. When
Yeah.
you turn 40, that's a whole different ball game. It's like you feel grown, and like you can't. I was having this. Somebody asked me a question about Erica Badu. Like she
Uh
had
huh.
posted a photo that I guess in some Spanx that somebody didn't like, and they was like, "Well, what would you say to that?" I said, "I wouldn't say nothing to
Mm-mm.
the girlfriend." I was like, first of all, what you saying to somebody that's in their 50s?
Right.
When you turn 40, you don't need to be saying nothing to no 40-year-old woman. Don't tell her nothing about nothing.
Uh-uh.
You should speak if she get 50 or over 50, you just speak when you spoken to.
Period.
We have got to stop, age shaming people or policing and I won't even say policing others. We police ourselves. Like we
Mm-hmm.
decide what we can and cannot do or what we're too old to do. And it literally is all in our heads. Like you can reinvent yourself as many times as you want. I'm on my third career, baby. I started out in accounting and then I decided I was gonna be a project manager. And then I was like, I'm gonna be a TV television producer because that's what I really want to do. And so
Right.
and hey, this might not be it, honey. I might reinvent myself and be something else tomorrow.
Okay.
And mind your business.
Please.
And so I say to everybody, anybody it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter, the only limitations we have are the ones we put on ourselves. And
Yeah.
so I love what you're doing with your podcast. I think it's
Thank
amazing
you.
and just keep going because what you're gonna find is like I said, I'm 7 almost 8 years in the game. Like my 7 years, almost 8 years have gone so fast in terms of my career growth, and yours will too.
Well, thank you so much, my love, because see, I'm from Kansas City and I've never left home. Me and my family, we are migrating to Atlanta next year so that I can expand my career. I've already started reaching certain people. I have certain contacts and I am scared to death, but I'm coming. And so there are people that's going to show me around and see what's going on. And child, I'm going to be in the building. So, whatever I got to do, get in there.
Jump in the water, it's warm. We
Cause
here.
I'm gonna do it. Cause it gets really cold here, and I think being from the Midwest over this way, it's not giving. It's not matching my charisma. I need to be out there in the field, honey, because I have a lot going on. I'm very vibrant, and I need to be out there in the world where things happen. So I'm coming. So what would you say some ups and downs have been in your career thus far?
Uh, That's a great question. I, I think one of the big so I don't care what job you do, what career you in, there's always going to be the challenges.
Yeah.
And I would just say that every challenge we face is just meant to be to transform you in some way. And so the first challenge for me was to figure that part out.
Hmm.
That, if I was facing a challenge or I was facing a struggle, that this was not meant to hinder me. It wasn't meant to stop me. It wasn't meant to hurt me. It was just meant
Hmm.
to force me to grow. And so adopting that mindset is very difficult. and to move yourself out of frustration, out of victimhood, or move yourself out of like, oh my God, why is this happening? And move your mind into, okay, this is happening because I need to overcome it and I need
Mm-hmm.
to learn from it. And so, it's go time. Um, I would say some of the biggest challenge, the early challenges is, you know, a lot of television. What people don't know is that a lot of what you see on television, and I won't even say a lot, I'm gonna say 90%. 90% of what
Okay.
you see on television is not produced by those networks. They're produced by
Mm-hmm.
production companies that then sell it to the networks, or the production company or the networks hire production companies to actually do the production of the show.
Okay.
And there's just not a lot of people of color in decision making positions, especially when there's more now than there was when I first came into the business. And
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot of Black content, and like that was like the most like shocking thing for me, was to get into the business and realize like the Black shows on Black networks, or or any networks, were not being produced by Black people. You
We didn't even know that.
Yeah, like most of the Black shows that you see, the executive producers, the writers, most of the producers are not people of color.
Wow.
And it was really hard sometimes when you walk into those spaces and you're connected to the content because you feel like this is, I want to represent my community,
Yeah, yeah.
represent us well, especially for shows like when I first started my first television or major, I'll say my first major like position was working on a show called For My Man on TV1. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a show about Black women. You know what I'm saying? Like primarily it's a true crime show about Black women from, many of them were from inner city, or, inner cities. And I'm like one of two Black people that work on the show. I'm not, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And having to then explain to people why you should not say a certain thing, why
Mm-hmm.
and trying to get them to understand like have cultural competence, having them
Mm-hmm.
to teach that team at the time about cultural sensitivities, and not always being received well for that, and
I understand.
having to figure out how do I tell them, painting the picture of this woman in a stereotypical way is not okay. Like
It ain't.
it ain't, what I'm saying? Like it was really difficult because, we had a team of, all white women who were like, well, why does this matter?
Mm.
Having to you become the and that's the hard part, right? Like working in a lot of these spaces where you're one of a few, like maybe you're not, maybe sometimes I've been on shows where I'm the only Black person, or there's only two or three of us, and none of us are in the decision making position. Like,
Mm-hmm.
well, they'll hire us to be in the field. They'll hire us to do certain roles, but we won't be the showrunner or the director or in the decision making position or the executive to decide how the story is told. And so, learning how to speak up and
Mm-hmm.
and not be afraid, but also do it in a way that allows me to be received
Yeah.
and not just seen as, the angry Black woman who's
That they love to call us.
that they love to call us like, "Oh, why you always have a problem with the script?" I'm like, "Why your script always on some bullshit?" Uh,
Right.
you can't say, but I learned you can't say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't say it like that. And so, I definitely being one of few Black people was one of my first challenges. Like, how do I navigate those spaces and adopting the mindset that this is just a challenge I'm supposed to learn from and not be angered by.
Yeah.
Helped me to really hone in on how to best communicate in those spaces and on those teams. And, that was the beginning. And then once I got into leadership positions, and we fought for some of the leadership positions that we got. I came in the game when they was, this is before everybody was pushing DEI,
Mm-hmm.
trying to actively have producers of color. So when I came in, like we were still fighting for it,
Yeah.
like we need representation. Um, and so once I got into certain positions where I had authority, or where I actually had the ability to speak up and say, what was right and wrong, I knew that when I got in those spaces, the next challenge for me was to be brave enough to advocate for those under me.
Well, I love it, honey. It sounds like you got them together, in a professional manner, but you
Yeah.
still advocated for us. And that's hard to do. It's a very fine line when you are sister to my name is so and so, Miss, you know what I'm saying? So it's like being true to yourself, but also being able to do business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a very fine line. So I think you're handling it very well. And I know that it took a while to get to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say this, the other biggest thing is being challenge that I faced, that I had to deal with, is being okay failing.
Yeah.
Like, to be successful, you have to become accustomed with failure. Like, you got to be willing to put yourself out there, even if you don't think you know everything, even if you think you're not the best or whatever. You got to be, get past your imposter syndrome long enough to say yes to the position, and then know that you're not going to get it right every time. And just
Yeah.
every time you put yourself out there, every time you're willing to fail, and to fall down, to fail, to whatever, is an you're getting better, and next time it'll be even better, and the time after that it'll be even better, and then eventually, now you the expert. Now they
Right.
you, because they know that you done made every mistake, you know all the answers. uh
Uh-huh.
so I personally think the best thing that could ever happen to a young producer, a new producer, is to get on a show that is a complete train wreck, and everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong, and
Yeah.
it is on your neck, and you got to be responsible.
Ooh.
And I was like, that's the best thing that will ever happen to you, because it will be the absolute most amazing training ground. You'll learn so much in those opportunities, and the most important thing you'll learn is how to fail and how to get back up.
Well, honey, listen, you was talking to me in that moment because I'm surely like, you know what? I live in the land of reality, but sometimes I'm delusional. Like, you don't want to think that things could fail, but things can fail. And you have to learn how to pick yourself back up and get back on the horse, because what you gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? That's called life. So I definitely took that in very much and received, because if I get out here to Atlanta, I'm keeping that window of, girl, you may not be able to land it immediately. So, but still keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a part of life. What you gonna do about it?
And you
So,
it's gonna land. So that's the thing. You don't know how it's gonna land, when it's gonna land, and it might land in a way you don't even think. You don't even know. You
okay.
coming, child.
I've been talking to God. I said, listen, continue to order my steps, what's for me, the rooms I'm supposed to be in, the people I'm supposed to align with, ordain it, make it so, and I'm gonna let you drive this boat because I can't do it without you. And so that's how I roll, honey. I just let God do his thing, and then I'm really a passenger.
Yeah,
So
it,
uh
that'll get you further than you think.
okay. So, what turns a show into a must see? With you being on the back end, I know that you are doing your thing like, okay, we're going to produce, we're going to do this, this, this. But in your opinion, what turns it into a must see? Like, I want them to gravitate toward this.
Okay, so another really good question. And it's one of those questions everybody will debate.
Okay.
Because it's different it's subjective, right?
Yeah.
Um, for me, a really good show, a really good must see, is, I always say, I feel confident that I made a good show if find out there are two people arguing about two very different opinions on it. If you got
Yeah.
it's like, I love it, and somebody that hate it, and they can go head up, I made good television. We made a good
Uh-huh.
you made a good show. If you can get, because what you've now done is you've created something that speaks to everyone. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even if they don't like it, that means they watched it and they spoke. If something spoke to them, and it ignited an emotion, a feeling, a thought, whether it be positive or negative or somewhere in the middle. But if I caused you to think, or I made you feel a way, if I made you feel any kind of way, whether it be inspired, happy, or motivated, or enraged, if I
Yeah.
created something or helped to create something that inspired thought and emotion, and or action, then I feel like I've done good work. And that to me is a must see show. So yeah.
Okay, all right. So when you look back on any show you've produced or any project that you've worked on, do you ever feel like I could have done that better? I could have did it this way instead of this way a little bit?
Oh God, yeah, everything. Like I am
Yeah.
a notorious nitpicker. Like I am. My colleagues laugh at me because they be like, "Oh God, here she goes. She gonna find something wrong with
Right.
it."
I'm just here to help. I just want to make it better, y'all.
Right. I think it makes me a good producer because I do. I find the little things that other people don't. Um, but I also am my worst critic. So I would say
Hmm.
everything. I'll say this: there's nothing that I've done yet that I can't think of something that I would have done better. Um,
Okay.
there's always something that I feel like I could have done better. But
Well, honey,
I always adopt that mindset. No matter how good at I get it, no matter how good I get at this, my goal is still always to be better.
absolutely, because there's always an incline or somewhere that you could have really pushed the envelope. And next thing you know, you look up and you have pushed that envelope. So never get stagnant, basically.
Yeah,
Because once you feel like, okay, I've done so much, I've done this, I've worked with this person, I've been here, then you start to sit and fold your hands like, okay, I don't have to do nothing else. But in reality, you got to keep pushing because there's still levels to this. You know what I'm
ab-
saying? So I get that 100%.
absolutely.
So in in all respect of everything you have done, what has been your most favorite part of being a producer?
Favorite part. Um, I love, love, love. One of the things about doing so I work in in the
Okay.
unscripted genre. And what that it includes is, reality TV, documentaries, docu-series, docu-follows, true crime, all of these types of things that are not scripted shows. Um, and that puts us in a position where we are helping other people tell their stories.
Mhm.
And so my favorite part is when I have an opportunity to help someone tell their story authentically, and I know that I help that person feel seen.
I love
I
that.
love working with young girls. I love working on stories that are about women. Um, People of color are always my favorite to work with. But I love everybody's story. Let me not just limit it to that. Um, anytime I have an opportunity, no matter who it is, to
Mhm.
help someone tell their story is, I feel like is meaningful work for me. I feel like that's what I've been called to do. Um, and I think anytime I have an opportunity to open a door for somebody. So the great thing about the way my career has moved, the progression of my career is like now I'm in a position, you know, I'm in a position, excuse me, now when I enter teams that, I can decide oftentimes like who I want to be, who I want to work with. And anytime I have an opportunity to open a door for a young person that maybe wouldn't have the opportunity otherwise, wouldn't
Mhm.
job. I love I love when I get those chances to give somebody a job that they would not get, give somebody a chance that they would not
Mhm.
if it wasn't me behind, making that decision. And
I
so I
love that.
mhm.
You are such a light for a lot of people, I'm sure. And there's so many people that can say, thank you, thank you. You know what I'm saying? It's all organic, everything that you're doing. And you're amazing. Like, girl, cut it out. You are definitely amazing because you're doing what you love. And obviously it's a calling through God because you're excelling. Not so much as monetarily, but the things that you're moving around, you're captivating audiences and things like that, and that has to hold a lot, near and dear to you. So I love it personally. So how do you keep your creative juices flowing? Like how do you stay creative?
So that's a really good question too. Especially now, right? Like when you
Mm-hmm.
doing the same types of projects, repeatedly. It does. I will actively start finding new things to do. Like, for example, I've been back when I was, in my corporate days and I was just moonlighting, I would occasionally do stuff, at radio stations if they would let me. But I never really got in, like, I would just, I kind of dip my toe into it, but I never really fully gave to the radio space, but it was always
Hmm.
just I found a little bit interesting. But within this last year, I felt like, I do a lot of television, a lot of the same kind of projects, and so I wanted to do something different, and I started working with radio personalities on producing radio shows and
That sounds fun.
podcasts, high level production on certain podcasts. And so it's so fun, and it's so new for me. So for me,
Yeah.
my creativity by finding something new. So like working on Tori Stars, your sister girl podcast,
Hmm.
came to me with this big idea. It was like, I want to do this. And I was like, I will produce this for you. Like, I will help you, make this what in the way you want it to be. And it was just something new, something fresh. And I feel like anytime I get that opportunity, it keeps those juices going. And when I don't have, and that's if I have the bandwidth, of course, if I have
Right.
time to take on a new, creative project that, may just be something I do on the side, then I'm a big reader. So, a friend of mine told me a long time ago. He used to say, if you want to be a better writer, you have to be a better reader.
Mm.
And never forgot it.
Mm.
Dr. Adisa Ajamu said that. And he was like, if you want to be a better writer, you gotta be a better reader. And I never forgot it. And so when I get in creative ruts, or I feel like I'm so busy, I'm not doing anything that's, charging me up, I find a really good story to read. And the more I read, then I start thinking, sometimes I don't even get through, I may get through half the book. And by the time I'm halfway through it, I'm now thinking of some new, I bet, my imagination runs wild, and I start thinking of some new story that I would want to tell. And so, I try to read,
Hmm.
read.
Well, thank you for that. Because, honey, I get to a point where I'm like, you know what? What is all this for? What am I doing? What am I going to talk about next? Who am I going to talk to next? Like, getting into that whole thing of being stagnant, and then you start questioning what you're doing. So I like that you gave that gem, because now that's something that I can take with me. Like, okay, we need to reevaluate, and sometimes we have to power down too.
Yeah,
We have to recharge so that we can come back strong and act like we got some sense. Because once you get to that space where you feel like you are tapped out, you ain't got nothing else, you don't know what you're gonna do, or what, like I said, what to say or any of that, and you start tripping. So I got to learn how to power down so I can get fresh and get motivated again. So I love that you said that for a fact.
absolutely. When I tell you, we are too consumed with grind culture. Like,
Mm,
oh, I sleep when I'm dead. Like, girl, bye. I'm gonna sleep tonight, and I'm gonna get 4 8 hours to
exactly.
wait until I'm dead because
Okay.
that rest. I don't know who it was that said it, but the rest ministry is the truth, honey.
Yeah.
We have got to take time to rest. Too often we don't hear God speaking because we're not still enough. You're not slow,
Mm,
going slow. Like, there are times where I'm not trying to be creative. I'm not trying to, I'm literally just going slow and taking care of myself and being present, in the moment.
yes.
And allow myself to, I really am a huge advocate because I work a lot. So people
Yeah.
know I'm a bit of a workaholic. And so I have learned in these last couple of years to carve out time to do nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
no, baby, there are two questions you asked me. You said, hey, what you doing today? I could be doing 12 things, or I could be doing absolutely nothing. And both of
Hmm.
those, both of those mean my calendar is full.
Okay.
You understand?
Right.
If I say I'm doing absolutely nothing today, that's exactly what the hell I mean. that, means,
Period.
that means my calendar's full. No, no, no.
Yeah.
So, and I just think it's important. Like, girl, let me tell you, I live by the rest ministry, honey. Get your sleep. That whole sleep till I'm dead stuff is for the birds, baby. No, I'm gonna sleep tonight. Okay.
Exactly.
I sleep tomorrow if I'm having enough of a day.
Right. Okay, because when you sleep, when you dead, baby, you ain't getting up.
You
So
got
therefore, let me go and get this nap in so I can come back to y'all. Because if I wait till I'm dead, fool, what sense do that make? I ain't gonna be able to get up and get none of this rolling. So let me sleep, get in
Mhm.
this slumber, then I'll come back, and I'll come out swinging.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I just think if we consider the fact that I think as women in particular, when we have time to really nurture ourselves, um, that's when we find our most creative energy. You know,
Hmm.
really nurture ourselves and nurture each other.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
we become our most creative. We become our most productive. We become, you know, I think our most loving and giving and nurturing when we have time to nurture ourselves.
That's so true. Period on that clock because T is all in there. So, what are some misconceptions about the entertainment industry or even just being a producer? I know some people think that it's this way, but it's really not.
Common mis So the first one I would say, or the biggest one I would say, is that, oh, it's just so much fun. Yes.
Hmm.
I have gotten, people often think like, oh my God, this is so glamorous. It's so, just a super fun job. Like, producing a television show is anything but. It is
Oh.
hard work. Sometimes it's grunt work. Sometimes it's and it is 12 hours shoot shifts. It's dealing with multiple personalities. It is really, really hard. It is hectic. And when you are on a show, you rarely have downtime. Like
Hmm.
it is from pre-production until, you have final delivery and you getting ready to release this bad boy, you on the clock. And
Okay.
the idea that it's just this super fun job. Like and here's the thing. What's fun about it is when you love it. But
Hmm.
you love this to do this. And I say that when people ask me, like, I want to get into the business, and I will always help anyone who says they want to get into the business. But one of the things I tell them is like, this can't be just some passing fancy. Like,
Hmm.
you have to love this to do it because it's and it'll consume your life. A lot of us, like, if there's any, producers watching, they know, like, you miss birthdays, you miss weddings, you miss, family functions, you miss friends, birthday, events and things like that because your schedule belongs to that show until
Hmm.
wrapped that show. And
Hmm.
so, that's the thing. It is not, you gotta love this to do this. It got
Yeah.
mean something to you. That's one. And then I think another common misconception is this idea that there's I don't know, it's gonna be people who disagree with me on this, but unpopular opinion coming.
Okay. Tea time.
um, there's no right way to do this.
Yeah.
Or I won't say right way. There's no one way to do any of this. And there's a lot of people that will tell you like, oh, you got to do it this way. You got to every single role in the ecosystem of a television show, everybody who is in that role will bring something different or something unique or have some different methodology that they want to use that
Hmm.
makes it better, makes their job easier or better. And I think a good director, a good, producer, a good executive allows those people to bring their unique methods to the table. If it
Okay.
now, of course, you got to call it, but
Right.
opportunity to do things in a way that is unique to them because there is a million ways to do any one of these jobs. And so I
Hmm.
I know people that can be a bit, dogmatic or elitist and if you don't do it this way, then you're not doing it the right way.
Right.
And I resist all of that. I'm like, look, there is a million ways to do all of this. If we get to make a good show and we deliver it on time and people love it, then don't nobody ain't nobody asking you which spreadsheet you used or what method
Right.
you used. They just like, yo, that was a good show. And so leaving room for individual creativity or individual methodologies to production techniques, I think is essential to building great teams, to being the type of leader or director or showrunner that people want to work with and
Hmm.
feel like they can get behind. And so, yeah, so I think that misconception of like there's only one way, because I know showrunners who will be like, this is the only way to do it and don't do it any other way. And I don't subscribe to none of that.
I wouldn't either. So what I took from all of that is entertainment or anything that you want to do in the entertainment setting, whether it be a podcast host, an event host, a producer, a director, whatever. It's like a relationship, a new relationship you get in. You have that understanding. They have that understanding. You know what you want. You know what you have to do to get to wherever, but you can opt out. So that means opt out prior to, because things can get demanding. You may be expected to show up, you may not be able to do this, do that, you have to be able to compromise, all of that. So make sure that you're checking in with yourself and see how dedicated you really are before you push that button, because
Oh,
when you push it, it's on go from there.
it is you are on go from there.
Yeah.
Sure you ready for this to be your life until that
Yeah.
show until you wrap that show.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I think those are, like I said, some of the misconceptions. I'm in the middle of creating an actual workshop and ebook and stuff like that about how to break into the business as a producer. Um
Okay.
and one of the things I want to do is I'm going to teach what I call industry standard processes and methodologies for television production, while also explaining like, hey, these are the industry standards. These are the templates. These are how to use them. This is what they're for. Um, and this, but my goal is to teach people how to think about what you're doing, because once you
Hmm.
learn how to think about a thing, that's when you start figuring out how to do it in a way that fits your creative style and allows you
Okay.
I want to give the fundamentals, like, hey, here are, if you want to be a field producer, which is a great entryway, here are the things field producers do. Here's what you will do from day to day. I've seen some of the production classes so far that people put out there, and it's like they give these high level concepts, but it's like, okay, but you haven't told anybody what they do every day, like, and you
Right.
not tell them how to do it. So I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I've taken some of those. I'm like, "Ugh, this wasn't worth it." So
Okay.
my goal is to create something that I'm in the process of creating something that will. I'm gonna give you some high level concepts. That'll be your introduction. But baby, by
Hmm.
2, it's on go. You are going to learn what this job is, every single piece to it, and how to do it. And
Okay.
providing templates, workbook, resource guides, like who to call if you want, how to break in. And breaking into the business is not as, straightforward. This business is very much, unfortunately, this business is very much, not what you know, but who you know. Because there's some
Hmm.
people don't know what the hell they doing in big, because they knew the right person. And so I'm in the process of creating this resource guide that is actually going to tell people like the traditional ways you think of getting in don't work anymore.
Hmm.
It doesn't exist anymore. You have to get outside of that box. And so I'm actually going to be listing like different production companies to contact and who those contacts are. Um
Yeah.
and
That's
and
amazing.
and just different way, and then there's about 3 or 4 different ways that if you really were someone who wanted to get started and didn't have a formal background, here's
Hmm.
how to do it. And I've helped other people do it, just like I've had interns that come to me, and by the time they done working with me, they have full-time jobs in the business. I
I
just
know that's right.
lost my best intern, baby, broke my whole heart. Because I tell you, I had trained him to the T, and he could get everything done how I needed. But after a year of work with me, like he got a full-time job quick. They snatched him right from up under me,
Okay.
and rightfully so, because that was the goal. I told him the
Yeah.
goal was not for you to work work for me forever.
Right.
Um, and so and I like I said, I work with a lot of young people where I've helped them get their first positions and their first in get their foot in the door
Hmm.
and more creative methods as opposed to just the traditional going on LinkedIn and going to the staff meetups and whatever. Like, and
And
those,
being overlooked,
yeah,
girl.
looked there's a lot of methods you can use. And the other thing is for people to And I'm gonna go back to your previous question. You asked about one of the common misconceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, as I'm creating this course, I'm creating a course, a book, and then I'm gonna do like templates and resource guides.
Okay.
Um, since while I've been in that process of creating that, I want to have everything launched by next month. One of the things that I think is a huge misconception, which I'm going to talk about, is probably more in the book than the class, um,
Mm-hmm.
is self-distributing, the self-distribution, excuse me. Um,
Mm.
and that is the a common misconception is that you got to create a project and sell it to a production company, or you sell it to a network, and then that's how it goes big. And that used to be the traditional method that worked. However, the days of the all-powerful studio are over. I mean,
Okay.
some of the slump that we're seeing in production, television production, right now has to do with the fact that um, self distribution is becoming so much more popular. And now, instead of, you can still sell to a big network, or to a production company. That's still a method, but
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to create content, distribute it yourself, and then
Mm-hmm.
let them come to you, because a lot
Okay.
of these networks are now looking for shows that are popular on YouTube, popular on
Mm.
Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Story time. Have you seen like people go viral just because they're like, okay, story time, and they tell you these stories? Yeah, I'm sure you
Uh-huh.
like there are literally four. I'm not gonna tell them, but there are four movies that are going into production in 2026. Four
Okay.
that I know of, and there's probably more than that, but there are four that I know of where these movies are going into production in 2026 because these people went viral on different social media platforms. Like one boy I know was on TikTok, but on different social media platforms, they just told this long, elaborate story that everybody was like caught up in, and
Mm.
um, got completely caught up in and went viral. And then writers and production companies came to them, bought their script, turned it into a script, bought the storyline, and now these movies are going into production. And so I said that to say, um, sometimes this idea of like, oh, I gotta go to this big, I gotta figure out how to, yo, break it big, my
Okay.
we're trying to go to the people and catch people who are not, readily available. But your audience is on Instagram. Your audience is on YouTube. Your
Mm-hmm.
audiences, and there's still audiences on Facebook. Like, don't, um, and so putting your own content out forces them to come to you, which puts you in the driver's seat. And so I'm going to walk through, but there's even ways to do that, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a method to that. There's a formula to that as well. So I'm going to go into that as well.
That's going to be amazing. And I can't wait to read it. Even though I don't want to be a director, I still want to be in the place amongst others that are doing things like me. Just wanting to expand a little bit. And I would like to be produced. So, just getting the tea on that. And a lot of us are not, tech savvy. A lot of us are not really growing in a monetizing way or even in an audience way. I know that my YouTube is lagging because I don't really know what the analytics are and how all that works. So I definitely need some support on that line. But all that's amazing what you're getting ready to put out there, and you're not gatekeeping. You're like, look, this is what it is. I'm gonna give you the blueprint, whatever. If you want something, here it go. But make sure that you're making good use to this because I'm giving you pretty much everything. You just got to put it all in order for yourself.
Absolutely.
So
Plan.
they'll
No,
love it.
no,
Period.
no gatekeeper. I really want to put a lot of it out there because I've met so many amazing people that are like, how do I do this? I'm like, you can absolutely do it. You can absolutely
Okay.
do it. And it's now we're in such a weird space in the television world where it's like the best of times and worst of times at the same
Yeah.
time. And for a lot of people are, not working because a lot of shows, it's taking a lot longer for certain shows to get greenlit. I think
Mm-hmm.
major studios and production companies are still, kind of feeling the financial pinches. Um, so there's this lag in work for
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people. Um, but it's like this almost renaissance, this like door opening for people who are putting out their own content.
Yeah.
Like the glass ceiling is gone, the limitations are gone. Like you literally can do more sometimes putting out your own stuff than you could trying to work with a production company. And
Mm.
it's really interesting for me seeing that progression, like seeing the direction we're going. Like podcasting is almost becoming bigger than radio. Like
For
seeing
real.
direction that things are going is really quite interesting. It's scary and exciting at the same time. And so another big piece of advice I would give anyone is stay up on, like, never stop learning. Learn the technology, stay up on it. And if you're at that stage, you're like, look, I'm not trying to be the tech side of this, go
Right.
find someone who is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
created stuff and put it out and found somebody on Fiverr that could, like, I mean, I know how to do a lot of things, but I just don't have the time. Girl, I had
Yeah.
Fiverr to do it and, just to get it out there. And so I tell people, like, don't get hung up on your personal limitations. If you can't do it, go find somebody to do it for you.
Okay, communication is key. You have got to reach out to people because there's a lot of hands out there that wouldn't mind helping. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? All you got to do is ask them. That's why I tell people I don't know how some people cannot be social. It's non-existent if you're in entertainment. Even on your day-to-day job, you have got to be able to talk to people.
yeah.
Because if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere and then you're going to be sitting still looking crazy. And it's 2025. We're getting into a new era. We got to keep it moving. So you got to ask for what you want. The worst they can be told is no.
Absolutely. Networking is gonna be your network is your net was it your network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know who said that, that ain't mine, but I heard somebody say it.
Right. Me too.
Right. But it's very true. Like, and so that's one of the reasons why I really want to create this resource guide, because one of the things that I just do not like is, I call them people collectors. Like, everyone
Yeah.
knows that it's who you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh yeah.
And people often don't, they gatekeep their contacts, and in this resource guide, I'm literally going to tell people, like, look, this how you these are the places you need to go directly to, and
Yeah.
here's the email addresses and phone numbers to and to get to those people, and
Right.
here's what you say when you reach out to them. um
Okay.
because listen, it's enough out here for everybody to eat.
It really is because I just said, listen, call Florentino Vasquez at this number. When he answered, tell him this. And if you got to tell him I sent you, tell him I sent you. But baby, here it go. I love that. I love how powerful you are in a sense of I'm able to help somebody but still believe in me. I know you ain't crossing over into my section, but I'm gonna help you get to your section. You know what I'm saying? Like you are really, really rare to find.
You are crossing over in my section. Come on, like we were. I want to see more people of color doing.
Yes.
I do. I don't
Hmm.
want to be by myself. I'm tired of being one or two,
Okay.
three, on one. Like, no, I need us in this, which is why, like, I'm hoping to create something that people can really not just say, oh, I took this little master class and I get the concept. No, I want you to leave. I want you to read the book, take the class and the resource guide. Oh, I know what the heck, I know how to do this, or at least I understand
Hmm.
the basics, and I know what templates to use and how to use them to get there. Like, I want more of us in this business. I really do.
Hmm. Well, I'm tapped in, honey. So don't feel a way when I reach out. Like, okay, so this what I'm trying to do, and I am just at a loss. I don't know how to do it. Help me out because
Got you.
you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get out there. So I'm so just excited about what all this is because obviously God said, you know what? let's go ahead and set this interview up. Let's set this tea talk up so they can get into it because I had questions and I still have questions that I'm going to have to get with you on at another time. But thank you, my love. You have been amazing. So I do want to ask you really quick because I ask every guest, what's a fun fact about you that people think they know but they don't know, or maybe you just want to clear some stuff up?
Let's see. Okay, so this is not okay. So this is a little one, but I want to go and put this out here.
Okay.
The people that have like only seen me online, I don't know what angle I'm using for pictures,
Right.
but that gives people this impression that I am tall. But when I tell you, like, anytime I meet someone in person and they, only seen me online, it's always like, oh my God, I thought she would be bigger. I thought she would be
Right.
like, it's almost like this shock, you know, like I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
5'1", okay?
Okay.
126 pounds. I'm a little person.
Oh my God. Okay. I didn't get that, but okay.
Apparently, I show up and it's like, you are tiny. And when I didn't expect you to be, and it's such a little thing, but I've gotten it
Right.
so often that I was like, I could even make a post like, hey, just in case y'all don't know, I'm little, okay?
Right.
So don't be shocked when you see me.
Girl, 'cause I definitely didn't get that. I didn't feel like you were super tall, but I definitely didn't get that short because I'm about 5'3" and I'm so and so pounds. And it's like so I be telling people I'm huge and they're like, you really ain't. But whatever, that's another time as well. But
Yeah, no, I am 5'1". So if
okay.
you see me in person, do not be shocked or appalled.
I'm just gonna give a little high five, like, all right, sis.
All right. I was like, dang, I always hear you say, I did not think you were gonna be that short.
Oh my goodness.
I am.
Well, it's okay. We love it. Whatever. You're tiny, but you pack a powerful punch. That's
Yes,
all that means.
that's
You
what
know
I
what I'm saying? Yes. Well, listen, honey, I do want to let you know that you are now officially a teacup. Any of my guests that have been on the show, they have been inducted into the Teacup Hall of Fame.
love it.
And so,
And I love
again,
you.
okay. I am so grateful to have spoken with you. You are definitely a light in my eyes. You are the epitome of, the black girl running the world. And I love that. And I'm a stay tapped in and tuned in because you're working on a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And if you want to tell real quick, or if you just want us to follow up and tap in with what you're doing and give you a little follow.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram as Saya Savvy. That's SIASAVVY. Um, and I have, like I said, tap in with Tori, your sister girl podcast, or something I'm working on right now. And
Yes.
I do have two other TV projects that I can't talk about yet.
Okay.
NDA and whatnot. Uh,
Okay.
but and check out Full Court Press. Full Court Press release is a project on ESPN about basketball, young women basketball players. It was such an amazing show. It released this year. I'm still so proud of it. We're still riding that wind, that wave, and these are some very powerful, strong young women that are dominating in a very competitive space. And so,
Mm-hmm.
looking for the thrill of the game along with learning these girls' lives and struggles, then tune in ESPN Plus and Hulu. You can check out Full Court Press season 2. Yeah, and that'll be good.
Well,
And
I love it. Like I said,
next,
I'm already following you.
next month you'll see my how to break into the business.
Well, everybody, if you are not following Miss Saya, you better. If you're trying to direct, if you're trying to produce, if you're trying to just get your foot off into the game, you better follow. Get down. She is on Facebook as well. I don't really know if she frequents Facebook a lot, but whatever. She's on there, so follow her. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to tea with Teash, honey. And when I get to Atlanta, I'm gonna be looking for you, so I'll be ducking the dodge and all in bushes and carrying on because I'm gonna be like, Saya, I know that's you.
Oh, baby, we can
So
catch brunch, honey. Come on down to Atlanta. We'll catch a brunch as soon as you get here.
yes, ma'am. Well, again, thank you so very much. And as I say at the end of every show to my guests, I always make sure that you keep enough room in your teacups for new tea because you know I got it. I stay on the scene at all times. And all right, girl.
It was lovely. Thank you so much.
Of course.